This is the Mazz and Bads Show with Brandon Marrazzo and Charlie Baduini.
All right, you already know what it is. We back with another one, Mazz and Bads Show in the building. Episode number 19 coming at you live. Miles Austin, because I honestly can't think of another player that's probably better. But shout out Miles Austin, Cowboys fan. Don't want to be a Cowboys fan right now. We'll get to that in a bit. But fun fact, my neighbor was his college roommate.
Really?
Swear to God.
Where'd he go to college?
Monmouth.
I think I knew that.
Yep.
That's pretty cool, though.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
Undrafted free agent, right?
I believe so. Dude, he was solid. You need guys on the team where, low value, you're not paying them a lot of money, can have a big impact. He was wide receiver too for Dallas for a while. Not including the tight end, of course, Jason Witten, Dez Bryant, and then Miles Austin, but he was absolutely wide receiver too. And a wide receiver that I had faith in, unlike Brandon Cooks, unlike anything else that I have going on right now. But it's okay because we are all in. You know what? I'm jumping right into it. Jonathan Mingo. That's the move I should be expecting. Jonathan friggin' Mingo. A guy who hasn't even had, 200 yards this season? I think he's at like 150. A guy that you...
But non-existent in the Carolina offense, pretty much. He's been buried on the depth chart.
Dude, wait. This keeps getting better. All right, season and a half. He's at like 550, I believe. Right? Just under 600 for career total yards. It gets even better. Even when he was in Division I FBS playing for the Ole Miss Rebels. Yes, he was an all-second team SEC. He never eclipsed 1,000 yards. This is the move that's supposed to get me excited. This is the move that's going to fix everything. You should expect big moves. Not like my freaking MVP caliber quarterback didn't just go down with a goddamn hamstring. He's going to be out for a couple of days. Not like CeeDee Lamb didn't pick up a shoulder injury. But it's okay. Expect moves at the deadline. And we bring in Jonathan Mingo. This is a cruel joke. This man has no clue what he's doing. He is the Joe Biden of the NFL right now. All right? And listen, I like Joe. I voted for Joe. All right? But he has no clue what's going on right now.
Sleepy Jerry.
The man, this is Sleepy Jerry. That's just, he has lost his mind. He's prioritizing tours for fans while the players are in the stadium going through like their practices and stuff, right? Just in the facilities, I should say, because obviously I'm sure they have a different practice field. But still, we're going to give tours. That's what we're prioritizing. Even though the players say, hey, it's making it hard to focus. Why is it making it hard to focus? I don't know, Jerry. Maybe because you suck and everybody has no clue if they're going to have a job next year at this point. And more than anything, they're going to wake up and go, what the hell is he going to do today? Meaning you, because you have no clue what you're doing. You're lost, my brother. You need some vitamins. You need some counseling. You need to step down. I have no more faith. This is it. I'm not taking the Cowboys the rest of the season. All right? I have no faith in this organization. Where anybody that thinks that they were even close to winning a damn Super Bowl, maybe I was on that train just a tiny bit. It's gone. It's dead. Not only is it dead for this season, it's probably dead for next season. I don't even know how Mike McCarthy still has a goddamn job. I like the guy, but let's just be honest. There needs to be an overhaul of the most extreme makeover you've ever seen. All right? And there is only one man that I could have faith in getting the Cowboys back to something. I don't think Jerry has the balls to hire him. Y'all know who it is. I've been calling for it for weeks, kind of a year now. Go get the Dark Emperor, get Bill in there, and get some goddamn talent. Charlie, you sent me a text last night, and you said buyers and sellers have them. Well, I'll tell you right now, the number one seller that I have is the Dallas Cowboys. Because clearly this roster ain't it. Clearly it's going nowhere. And I'm so help me Lord. So help me Lord. If they don't play Trey Lance these next couple of games and try to see what his goddamn value is so that you can trade his ass and get him out of there, I don't even know what you're doing. Because we know what Cooper Rush is. Nobody wants him. All right, he's okay. He's cool. Solid backup. He can steady the ship a little bit. The problem is there's no ship to steady right now. All right, so go out there, put the young blood, and let's see what's good.
Yeah, definitely agree with you there. I mean, with Dak being out these next 4 games with the hamstring injury, which is actually something that you didn't even mention in your little rant to start that, because it's just so bad everywhere else for the Cowboys right now, right? I mean, offensively, defensively, from up top to down low. And now you're without your best player for the next 4 games, potentially even your second best player in CeeDee Lamb. So The way I see it, yeah. If you're playing Cooper Rush these next 4 weeks, the Cowboys' mindset is, hey, we still have a shot in this thing. We still have a chance to make a push for a wild card spot. La, 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 la. But you're right, Mazz. What they should be doing is evaluating the roster, start giving these young guys some snaps and some reps to see what they got. And that includes, Trey Lance, the former 3rd overall pick in the draft, not even less than 3 years ago. If you don't play him, then what are you saying? Then why did you acquire him in the first place?
You can't tell me there's long-term plan for it. I mean, you guys don't even have him as QB2 right now. I don't understand. He needs to be playing, right? Because you're not going to win games. The season's a wash, all right? Like, I'm sorry. It is what it is. It was a decent ride. No, it wasn't. It was terrible. It was horrible the entire way. I've been miserable this entire goddamn season, if I'm being honest with you. You need to go out there and get that. Another thing that I would like to see Brandon Cooks off the books, go trade his ass. I know he's still a little banged up, so I don't even know if that's possible right this second. But that's somebody that we're talking about needing to be sellers. I need Brandon Cooks gone, and I'm sorry, DeMarcus Lawrence too. Buddy, thank you for your service, but it's just too much money at this point, and you just haven't been accomplishing much. And dare I say, I'm not even opposed to Micah going. We don't have the money. I love Micah with all my heart, but Micah is not doing enough this season. Of course, he did get banged up, but even before he got banged up, Micah was not doing enough this season to warrant all that money that he was expecting to get. And you can't, you know me, I hate when guys walk out the door for nothing. If they're going to be leaving, you might as well get something back for them. And for the love of God, don't let it be like Amari Cooper, and you're only going to be getting a 5th-round pick, all right? When Cleveland swapped them for more value up to Buffalo, all right? Actually get some value for these guys. I don't want to see them go. It's just we're in a state where there's no money to work with. There's nowhere to go but down, all right? So at least, if you cut it off at some point, you can save the rest of it. And I still think that there's something worth saving here. I just firmly believe that the entire mechanism is so screwed up that you just got to change some parts, and it's got to be some big parts because you need money to work with. You can pay Micah all that money, or you can bring in 2 to 3 guys that might actually have an effect for that same money that you were going to pay him. There's a guy out there, my second sellers right now, just because their season's a wash. They have no clue what they're doing, but they have some great talent over there. The Saints, I would like to see them blow it up, and Dallas should slightly be a buyer because Chase Young is a guy that I would like to see. I think that's low value, high upside. Maybe go get that. But the Saints are another one. The season's going absolutely nowhere. You have all this veteran talent, and you are wasting these guys away. For the love of God, have the balls and hit the reset button. New Orleans got to blow it up. You're not going anywhere. You put the league on fire. League on fire. Beginning of the year, especially at Dallas. And then it's slowly just been trending downwards. Alvin Kamara apparently is getting free beer for life from a local brewery, which is great for signing that re-up, but even he was supposed to be leaving, right? Where is this taking you? You need to blow up the roster and reevaluate, all right? And that brings me to my last seller, which I think you're going to hate because they are second in their division. However, I don't think that it's going to go as far as they would like to, even though they have a veteran quarterback that's been balling out. Right? They have 2 wide receivers that are just absolutely dope, maybe even a third one that's shine, but I think that there's enough young talent where you can think about being a seller, and that's the Rams. I would like to see the Rams blow it up with all due respect. They got that championship. Just for the sole fact of you cannot sit there and tell me that you fully believe that the Rams can win a Super Bowl this year. They're a good team. They're not a great team. They're going to compete, but they're not going to get over the hump. Do right by Cooper Kupp and go get him to one of my top two buyer teams in Tampa Bay because Lord knows that they need a wide receiver, and they just took it to the Chiefs for crying out loud. If they could just if they were healthy, they probably win that game. All right, they need a wide receiver in the worst way possible because you still have Mike Evans. Once you get him back and you get a Cooper Kupp in there, absolutely could change things. And another one, the Pittsburgh Steelers need to be buyers right this second. You are number 1 in your division, and the Baltimore Ravens are in that same damn division. You could make a run. That defense is good enough. Russ is playing good ball. You really just think that they need other options to go to besides, George Pickens, please catch the ball. Please make an immaculate play.
Please come down with this 50-50 ball, please.
There needs to be a new game plan. Imagine Cooper Kupp being over there or another wide receiver. And there's some guys out there that I would like to see. speaking of buyers too, this is a. I'm sorry. Speaking of sellers, real quick, I know I'm going all over the place. Bear with me. The Jacksonville Jaguars should think about blowing it up as an honorable mention as well, just because what the hell are you guys doing? All right. But as I was saying, the Steelers and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, I think, need to be buyers like crazy right now because you guys, for much faster than anybody thought, are in win now situations. Right? Nobody thought that the Steelers were going to be like this. Nobody thought Tampa was going to bounce back this fast after Tom Brady. But you know what? I had faith in Baker, but I'll even say Baker's outplayed my expectations. This is awesome. They need to capitalize on these windows right this damn second, my friend. How you feel about that?
I'm a pretty big fan of everything you just said. I mean, our lists are actually somewhat pretty similar. We definitely have some similar buyers and sellers. The one I'll push back on you a little bit is the Rams. I don't think they need to necessarily blow it up, and I think they were trending in the direction of trading Cooper Kupp until they picked up that win against the Vikings, and then they picked up a win this past weekend against Seattle, and now they're in the thick of things in the division. I know they have some veterans that are at the end of the rope, like Cooper Kupp, like Matt Stafford, some guys on the offensive line, but I don't see why you wouldn't just stick it out with the current group you have. You went down to the second best team in the conference last year in the playoffs in the Detroit Lions, who they could be the number one team in the division in the conference this year. I think the Rams defense definitely not as good as it was in years past, but I think they still got a puncher's chance. I wouldn't rule them out.
Yeah.
So I'll start with. Did you start with sellers? Yeah, you did. You started with the Cowboys.
I started with sellers. Oh, last buyer for me.
Yeah.
It's a layup. I'm sorry, it's not going to be sexy. If you're Detroit, just whatever you can do to put another ornament on there, particularly a pass rusher. Why not? Just go out there and get it done.
They did this morning bring in Zadarius Smith.
Did I miss that?
Yeah, from Cleveland. Zadarius Smith's now playing for his third NFC North team, and he's going to be the Hutchinson replacement going forward. Definitely not as good as Hutchinson, but a guy who's still going to fill in that gap anyway as your other rusher. So
And my honorable mention, sorry, buddy.
Go ahead.
The Commanders, apparently everybody wants to go play there. Players are loving what Dan Quinn is doing over there. They want to play with the young rookie quarterback. It has become a hot destination for players. And I don't even know if they necessarily need to make a move just with the way that their team's been playing and grinding. But again, same thing with Detroit. Anything that you bring in can't hurt you, so you might as well try to capitalize on it.
So I have the Steelers as one of my buyers. I'll pivot. You already kind of covered that. They could just use some extra receiver help there. I mean, that's really all it comes down to. Maybe some offensive line bodies because they've had so many injuries up front there. But I'll flip it over to the Commanders, who are currently in the market looking for defensive help because their offense is one of the best in football right now. They are humming along nicey nice thanks to Jaden Daniels and Cliff Kingsbury, Brian Robinson, Terry McLaurin. They're really coming to life. Defensive side of the ball, they need some help at corner. They've been one of the teams that have been linked to the Saints' Marshawn Lattimore. He could be on the move because the Saints, I guess we'll skip ahead there too. The Saints are on my seller list too. They are in salary cap hell these next few seasons. With Derek Carr on the books, Alvin Kamara, Ryan Ramczyk, you still have Cam Jordan. I already said Alvin Kamara. You got a Chris Olave extension coming up soon. They need to start clearing the books. Taysom Hill is making, I think, $13 million next year. A 34-year-old quarterback tight end hybrid is making $13 million next year.
Who's not even great at either one. With all due respect.
He's not.
He's a Swiss Army guy, but dude, it's
why that price tag? What was that?
No,
exactly. So
you're telling me you got no other athletes that could fill that kind of a gadget role? Are you kidding me?
So the Saints should be trying to sell off basically their entire roster. I said this before the season even started. They should have done this last year before they even came into the season, and now Dennis Allen's fired. They ended up where they were going to end up anyway, and they tried to do something this season. You're right. First two games of the season were electric on their part, 250-point games, but ever since Derek Carr went down, it messed up the groove and it just hasn't been great. So my next buyer is the Cincinnati Bengals. They don't need any help on offense right now. They're fine. Joe Burrow's having a great season. Jamar Chase having a great season. T. Higgins is still there. He's banged up, but he's in and out of the lineup. When he's in there, they're humming on all cylinders. Where they need help is on defense because that is what is holding them back right now. They can't get a stop when they need it. They can't. And that's what's cost them almost 5 or 6 games this year. They need some help on the defensive line. Their only good defensive player right now is Trey Hendrickson, and he's 30 years old, about to be a free agent. They need a pass rusher. They need some corners. They could be a team that's linked to Marshawn Lattimore as well, a corner that could be on the move. And they just need help on defense in the worst way possible. Lou Anarumo is a great defensive coordinator. It's fantastic. He's proved that these past few seasons in their deep playoff runs. He's always found a way to slow the other teams down and put the offense in position to succeed with short field position and turnovers. They need some help on defense.
Unless, there's just a star quarterback and wide receiver duo in the Super Bowl, then you can't stop shit.
That's fair. Well, that's also what happens when you put Eli Apple on Cooper Kupp. But
well, should have been double teaming that all day the second Odell went down. I don't know what they were thinking.
I don't know either. Who was their next receiver that year? Robert Woods? No, he had torn his ACL in that same season.
Wasn't it the kid Robinson from Chicago? Allen Robinson II, I think.
That was the year after. They replaced Robert Woods with Allen Robinson, and it did not work out.
So I couldn't even tell you who the next wide receiver is. Then
Exactly.
That's how beat up they were, and you knew where the ball was going. They still couldn't stop it. And you know what? I absolutely love what you just mentioned there, because here's the fact of the matter: you're not keeping the band together another year. It is going to get changed up. Go in right now. You have Joe Burrow, right? Who I've been critical of, slightly overrated, and just because of the faith that people put into him, right? Where it's always, we need Joe to make a magical moment, night in and night out type thing. When you have other players that either aren't living up to the caliber or just, you're wondering where the hell they are. My statement for this is, go all in for this season. You're not going to have a dynasty right off the rip, right? You've messed up the money. It just is what it is. Maybe you could retune it next year, but for this year, right now, what is the point of just sitting waiting around for something that's not going to happen because you know what you have? Go bring in something. Go make that deep playoff run, and maybe you end up with the championship. Yes, I know. I might sound a little hypocritical. Maybe the Rams could do the same thing. I just think that the Rams have proven that they have the young talent where they can still do that, and they don't necessarily need Kupp on the roster, and they can get some big value for next season because they're fading out faster than the Cincinnati Bengals are, and that's just due to age.
Yeah. You could definitely make that case, but I think that, like you said, the Bengals window is a bit more open just because of that age group of their offensive core. So my last buyer is the Los Angeles Chargers. Can someone please go get my man Justin Herbert, a wide receiver one? They're sitting here 5-3, and he's throwing to Ladd McConkey and Quentin Johnston, excuse me. Please, can we get him some help? Call the Jets. Is Mike Williams available? Because 2 weeks ago it was a lock he was going to be gone. They brought in Devontae Adams. They were going to send Williams out to recoup some of the draft capital they used. Allen Lazard goes down with a chest injury, and Mike Williams stays. Christian Kirk was a guy who was talked about on the trade market. He fractures his collarbone in Jacksonville. I mean, how many other receivers out there are available for trade? I mean, Amari Cooper got shipped. DeAndre Hopkins got shipped. There's really not many other names out there that are actually available. I mean, there was Cooper Kupp that was being floated, but now that the Rams are winning games, he's off the market. I mean, off the top of my head, the only other guys I can think of are, like, maybe if the Colts end up feeling like moving Michael Pittman or Alec Pierce, or...
I don't really see that happening, but
yeah.
One that was in talks that I was a little... Like, I don't think it's going to happen, but the right price, I could absolutely see it happening. Miami Dolphins, because they're not going anywhere. They spent all this money. They tried going all in, and the all in just has not worked, because they don't have the right guy at quarterback right now, And Tua had a decent year last year, some big wins, just taking you further down the stretch, plus the injury history. I don't know if that's going to happen. And you want to talk about being in salary cap hell. I mean, they're paying money. Well, they're hemorrhaging money at this point, I feel like. So if you're really serious about making a giant move, yeah, I'd call up right away and be like, let me get Tyreek and I'll give you the ransom if I'm trying to go all in right this second.
Yeah, Chargers definitely need some more help on offense because they are a run-first team, but then you're going to have to pass at some situations in the game, and having to put the game in the hands of a Ladd McConkey or a Quentin Johnston just doesn't seem like a recipe for success right now. Those guys might be something down the road, but right now they are not elite, bona fide wide receiver ones.
Yeah.
So for the seller side of things, I think we also had some similar things. I put the Jaguars down here. They're sitting at 2-7 right now. I think they can move some pieces. They already wanted to trade Christian Kirk, as I mentioned, but that injury kind of derailed things. But still some pieces they could move. I feel like Brandon Sheriff, the guard, former Pro Bowler, he could probably fetch a good price for an offensive line needy team. And then defensively, they got some corners that they probably won't end up paying on the defensive line. Eric Armstead, who came over from San Fran. That could be a guy who could fetch a nice little price in the trade market. But, yeah, the Jaguars aren't going anywhere. They should try and recoup some assets where they can. My next team is the Raiders. The Raiders should be selling everything because their team is just not it, man. I don't know what they thought the plan was going into the season. How else did you think a Gardner Minshew, Aiden O'Connell quarterback room was going to go? I know they had Devontae Adams in their plans, but obviously he was not in the plan. His plans were not with the Raiders. I think they can move some guys on defense. I've always thought that it's time to trade Max Crosby. I've been thinking of that for the last few weeks. If you really want to kickstart a massive Raider rebuild, he's the piece. He's going to fetch you 2-3 first-round picks. He's going to get the King's ransom that'll give you the ammunition you need to overhaul this franchise. Even on the offensive side of the ball. You drafted Brock Bowers this year. You can trade Michael Mayer, the Notre Dame tight end they drafted last year. Jacoby Myers, I mean, he's still a very viable receiver, a guy who, hey, a receiver-needy team. Jacoby Myers is a good option. He's probably on the cheaper end of things.
Breaking news.
Oh, boy.
Lattimore heading to the Commanders.
There it is. Did I not just say that 5 minutes ago?
There it is, buddy. I'm so glad that we got our takes in before that actually happened.
Yeah, right?
Absolutely insane. I'm wondering what they ended up giving up for him. However, they finally got that defensive help. The Saints doing the right thing. You know, that just came in from Bleacher Report. Let's go check out Shefty on X now, because God forbid we just leave it Twitter, right?
I believe the asking price was a 2025 day 2 draft pick, which would mean a second or third rounder.
Mm-hmm.
Probably something around that range. The Jaden Daniels window is wide open. Perfect transition into my last seller. The New Orleans Saints, as we just talked about, should be selling everybody. And it looks like they're kind of starting to take a look at that. I mean, who else on the roster could they move besides Lattimore? I think if I was them, I'd move Cam Jordan. He's a solid pass rusher still, even in his getting to the mid-30s. A guy who's been a Saint his whole career. I mean, I know it'd be unceremonious to ship him out just like that, but, I mean, you're not winning anything this year, you know?
I think that's the problem where it comes down to. It's always like, like even Crosby said, I want to be a Raider. He has a Raiders tattoo on him right now, you know? And it's so hard on what do you do. If personally, I'm having these conversations like, dude, it's not like I don't want you to be a lifer. It's just you're making a ton of money right now and you deserve that money. But it's not helping us win because we've messed up everywhere else. I don't want to waste your career left.
Your prime,
I get that you want to be here, but I want to see you go compete at the highest level. Thank you for your service. I'll even let you help me choose where you want to go. Who do you think gives you the best shot of going winning? That we'll see if we can get like the package for it. I'll make those phone calls first just to do right by you because you've been here for a couple of years. Now somebody else that hasn't been there a couple of years, buddy, I'm making a phone call on the first one that I get. No disrespect. I don't know you nothing. But a guy like you said in Cam Jordan, you absolutely got to do right by him. I feel like just for being there for all those years. Same thing with Crosby. Literally the only thing that the team really had going in terms of to be excited about, even though you did have Devontae Adams, but didn't have the quarterback to get him to. These guys, you need to make them understand. It's not that we don't want you. We love you. It's just we're wasting you. And it's time to move on.
I think most veteran players understand that, you know. I'm sure.
I don't think so. I think a lot of them take it very personal.
But yeah.
Because think about it. We always just think that it's just getting traded to a new team and it's whatever. No, these are grown men. They have families. Now I got to move my family across the country. Kids got to be in a new school system. There's a lot that goes into it. So it kind of sucks, but that's the job that you signed up for, right?
Yeah, I'd say.
So,
all right, I guess we'll keep our phones handy for any more breaking news. It's 1 o'clock. The Saints are getting a third rounder for Marshawn Lattimore. That's pretty.
It's good. It's pretty good.
Solid.
I'm glad they didn't give up a second.
Yeah, that would have been a lot. But I mean, Lattimore's contract's pretty large as well, so we'll see.
Call your shot right now. Who do you think is going to be next?
The next traded player? Mm-hmm. I think the Giants will trade Azeez Ojulari somewhere.
Oh, I saw that there was teams looking at him. That's a good one. Okay, I like that.
Because the Giants have a somewhat of embarrassment of riches at edge rusher right now. They have Kayvon Thibodeau, they have Brian Burns, and then Azeez Ojulari, who they spent a second-round pick on 3 years ago. He's an impending free agent. They're not going to re-sign him. They should try and get some value for him where they can.
They're going to be missing that one, especially the way that Thibodeau's been up and down.
Yeah, he's missed the last few games with a wrist injury, but he'll be back.
Mm-hmm. No, but even before he got injured, like he's another one. He's
flaky.
He was supposed to be so great, and he's shown flashes, but it hasn't been persistent. I feel like enough. I know some Giants fans are a little frustrated about that. Dude.
Listen to this, Mazz. So, do you remember in the offseason when the Commanders traded Jahan Dotson to the Eagles?
Yeah.
It was a third-round pick they got for him.
Yeah. And
they used that pick to go get Marshawn Lattimore. So, basically, they traded Jahan Dotson for Marshawn Lattimore.
That's wild.
Are the Commanders competent again?
Yes, absolutely. Yeah. Yes, absolutely. I was literally just reading as you were saying about like just the new faces in the Commanders organization, new owner, new GM, new head coach. I mean, for them to be having this kind of a year right off the rip, we're talking like literally just got the most cancerous ownership out of the league, right? I absolutely like. Good Lord, Schneider was, as you know, my least favorite guy. Just a bad guy all around. There's nothing you could do to convince me that guy didn't do basically everything that he was accused of. All right, yeah. Because there's been so many. Not only has there been so many people that have spoken out against it, there's been people from the organization that got out. I knew that everything was right the day that, and people might hate this, but hear me out when I say this. The day that John Gruden went down for the leaked emails is the day that I knew that everything about the Commanders organization was true. Because there's only 3 people on those emails, right? And the organization would only leak that to get attention off of their even worse owner. Now, I'm not saying that John Gruden shouldn't have been punished for what he said. You know, I was pretty upset. I'm upset with Gruden still for those comments. And it is what it is. You know, I'm sure he's learned and grow, what have you. But I'm still pissed. But I knew damn well when that came out, we're playing cover-up here, and we're trying to direct attention away from the shenanigans that are absolutely happening within this organization. Whether it's, pimping out cheerleaders for crying out loud, all right, for a swimsuit magazine, but really you're just trying to get them with donors. It's sickening, all right? Just everything that you read. Just constantly, this is just a bad guy. The fact that he was even allowed to be in the building, and it's like, oh yeah, you're not allowed to own the team, but your wife's allowed to own the team. Billionaires Boy Club. What the hell are we doing? Glad he's gone. Glad the new owner's in. The only criticism that I have, if you're going to take the reins from an organization that has been that toxic, and you are going to be this competent, give it a new identity. Give it the fresh start. You don't need to be the Commanders anymore. Go call it the Red Wolves. Bring it back to the... I've seen a lot of people who have been calling back for the Redskins, and I've seen people in the Native American community that have been calling back for it too, that have links to the gentleman whose portrait was used for the logo. I'm sure it was, drawn a little more, however you want to call it, right? I'm sure he doesn't look exactly like the logo, but his family, I saw across multiple platforms, has come out and said, yeah, we want it back. And if you're going to do that, that's fine with me, but hey, make sure that you have the proper people from those represented groups. You should be talking with the Native American community on how you can help their message more if you're going to be benefiting off of, a name, image, and likeness that's tied to their community, in my personal opinion. But give it a new identity.
Yeah, all fair points. I think it's possible now that if the Commanders are able to go on a bit of a run here, maybe make a playoff run and keep that success sustained over the next few seasons, they might carve out a legacy for the name Commanders. You know what I mean? It might just stick because winning cures all solutions. And I'm convinced the Jets changed their uniforms 5 years ago. In 2019, they went from their old classic uniforms to that. And after 5 seasons, which is the minimum you have to use a new jersey until you can change it, they flipped it. I assure you, if the Jets had an iota of success with those uniforms, they wouldn't have changed them. You know what I mean? It's all about winning and what that does and what stigmas that can change. And I think if the Commanders can continue to do this, it just might stick. It just might stick.
I don't know. For me, how do you breed more excitement? You know, changing a logo or just updating it. Even if you don't want to change the name, just make it yours. You inherited all this old stuff. And yeah, you guys are doing great with it. But I think you need to ride that wave and continue to build that wave even more. It starts with a new logo. Whether you change the name or not, just make it yours. Even the Jets, too. The first thing that I would have done looking at this roster is like, good God, I can't get these guys motivated anymore. I'm changing the logo, baby. Just give them something new. Just something just to be proud in, you know? And I can't even believe that you guys just rock with a Jets instead of an actual, like, jet design. I mean, there's so much you can do with it. What are you guys doing?
I don't know. They've always tried to stay away from an actual, like, fighter jet. I mean, there's a couple alternative logos where there's a little, like, sideways plane, but, I mean, I don't know, man. I'm a big fan of the current jerseys right now.
Yeah. Yeah, okay. I don't know, dude. I just see, like, the logo, and I'm just like, oh, dude, we were missing out on so much artistic potential, you know?
But speaking of the Jets,
nope.
Snapping a 5-game losing streak, picking up a win against the Houston Texans last Thursday night at MetLife Stadium. Aaron Rodgers played his best half of Jet football of his career. We finally saw Devontae Adams and Garrett Wilson flourish side by side. The defense stepped up, made enough plays, probably helped out a little bit by the fact that the Texans were down their top 2 receivers in Nico Collins and Stephon Diggs. But the Jets pull out a win, and they are injecting some more life support into their season.
Good for them. You're going to hate me for this. Wasn't a catch.
The Garrett Wilson?
Didn't like it.
Listen, man.
It's always we've been changing rules like crazy. Growing up, it's always been 4 things. 2 feet, right? Same thing with the who was that? Was that Pickens with the 1 foot?
Yeah, where he double tapped with 1 foot. Yeah.
I've never seen that in my life, but you know what? It's always been 2 feet, 2 different feet, right? I've heard Steelers fans complain about that. Shout out my man Angie LaPuma, but yeah, it's legitimately been 2 feet, 2 different feet getting down in an elbow, a kneecap, or a butt cheek. That's what it's always been. Now all of a sudden, I don't even know how the hell the shin hit without the other foot touching, you know? It was weird to me, and I didn't think it should have been a catch. I didn't think that Pickens should have been a catch. And I just feel like every time I look around, there's just like a new rule, like, get the hell out of here. No, I refuse to believe that the horse collar rule has always been in the rule book for that long. I just honestly feel that we're just changing stuff because we're hoping for certain outcomes. Let's be honest. If the Jets win football games, it's good for the league. Not as good as the Chiefs, not as good as maybe some other teams, but anytime that you have a major market team with that much star power, what are you saying to your fans when they've been underperforming? So I'm just going to go out here and say, I think it is in the league's best interest if the Jets won some more football games. You know, that's just me.
I mean, I guess it could have been a little bit of a little help from, if you recall, Malachi Corley letting go of the football a little too early on his first ever career touchdown.
Yep.
That might have been part of it, that, you know, the Jets, you know, they were kind of...
How mad were you?
After the Corley drop thing? Mm-hmm. It was frustrating. I didn't walk into MetLife expecting a win on Thursday night last week on Halloween. So
no, you expect competence.
Listen, 2-5, walking in. It was 70 degrees in MetLife Stadium on a Halloween night. It was beautiful. I was just there to enjoy the game with my father and my uncle. And the win was just window dressing, honestly, because Listen, I chalked the season after the Buffalo loss. I said to you and Ant on Instagram Live, I slammed the window shut. I said, it's over. We're done. This season is a wash. I still feel the same way, pretty much. I mean, yeah, they're sitting at 3-6, but everyone that keeps saying, yeah, the second half of their schedule is pretty light.
It is.
I bet you every team on the second half of the Jets' schedule is looking at the Jets and saying, yeah, that's a winnable game. You know what I mean? Like, we got the Cardinals this weekend, the Colts the week after that, and then a divisional matchup against Buffalo and 2 games against Miami. It's not going to be easy. It's not going to be easy to go. If the Jets want to make the playoffs, they have to go. What are they, 3-6 now? So they have to go 8-1 the rest of the way. Is that going to happen?
No.
That's what I'm saying.
No, it's not.
That's what I'm saying.
I would love to sit here and tell you that it's possible, and it is. I guess it is like a little bit possible. But
sure, it is, but it's a very
I'm not
chance.
putting the mortgage on it.
No.
You know, I wouldn't even put $5 on it, to be honest with you. I do think that these games are winnable. I will be rocking with the Jets for a lot of these games, but to go 8-1, I mean, you have to be perfect, and to expect a team that has been in this much disarray to be perfect, I think you got to put down the pipe, buddy, because it's not working.
It's not like
that would be like me expecting the Cowboys to win out while Dak's not playing. You know.
Sorry, let me go take care of the barking dog real quick. I'm sorry, guys. Sorry, I totally should have hit pause. We started a really interesting conversation. Mazz, go ahead.
Yeah, so I was just saying that I believe Khalil Herbert is going to be acquired by the Cincinnati Bengals. You informed me Zach Moss picking up that neck injury, to which I responded to you. I've never seen so many injuries in this league, except for the last it feels like 2 seasons.
Yeah,
two seasons. It's been ridiculous, absolutely rampant. You know, and then you were saying that there's a theory due to late practices in the summer.
Yeah, so the last few years since the last collective bargaining agreement, the Players Association has really tried to crack down on summer practices, which is they want to have less physical practices. They want to have no pads, no contact practices. Just do walkthroughs until like August. And people think that because they've gone, I'm not saying soft because no one wants to get hit. I'm saying these soft practices that aren't conducive to actual game speed is contributing to the players' bodies not being ready for when the season actually does come around. And I would say that's more the case for the early season injuries for guys who don't play in preseason or take it light in training camp because they're veterans and they don't necessarily need to be drilling this stuff down. The body's just not ready for it, and that's what's leading to some of these injuries. But that's just a theory. I'm no sports medicine doctor, so
Yeah, I mean, listen, I played for a while, not at the highest level by any means necessary, right? Didn't make college ball, but here's the thing: having those contact practices, think about it just like with lifting weights. You lift weights, you're gonna build muscle, you're gonna burn fat. You don't do it, you're just gonna plateau. You know. I think there's something to be said. Playing football is not natural. It's not natural on the body. It's like being in 1,000 mini car crashes. All right? You absolutely need to work your way to be able to withstand that. I think more contact practices probably would be better. You know, maybe not tackling to the floor all the way, but still just that initial pop I think would be good for guys. But as we said, I'm no orthopedic. I have no clue. This is just a theory. I've also seen that guys are overtraining as well. That like the bodies are just over. Like you talk about, trying to prepare. Well, you can over prepare too, and then there's not enough recovery happening because these guys are freaks. This is probably the best that athletes have ever been, just in terms of pure athleticism the league has ever seen. Right? Maybe not the best football the league's ever seen. Maybe not the biggest hits, the nastiest guys, or the best technique, but definitely the best athletically guys have ever been. And again, it's not natural for the body to be able to do some of these things that these guys are capable of. Especially, you go into the game, you make some crazy athletic jumps, some big hits, what have you, and then you go back and you're training like a madman. Where's the recovery? So it's kind of like a give or take. You just like in anything in life, you got to find the balance with it, and there has to be some kind of studies, especially within the last 2 seasons as to what has been different and why have these injuries been occurring,
Got some breaking news for you.
Hit me with it.
Steelers got a wide receiver. Jets trading Mike Williams to Pittsburgh for 5th-round pick.
I don't hate it.
I don't hate it either.
Don't hate it at all. I don't know if it's going to necessarily be the biggest game changer, but if he can just get his confidence back, actually just catch a ball that's thrown right to him, it absolutely helps. I love the move. I think, as you said, he needed to change the scenery. They've already lost faith with him after that bad performance against the Bills. So
it was the Bills and then the Vikings game where Rodgers underthrew it, but Williams could have come back to it a little bit. And from the Jets side of things, they just never found chemistry, Aaron Rodgers and Mike Williams. And with the acquisition of Devontae Adams, it looks like Malachi Corley is going to get some more reps going forward. Their 3rd-round pick from this last draft. And then, of course, Allen Lazard's out these next 3 games, but he'll be back at some point, I hope/assume. So, yeah, the Jets did not need another veteran receiver with that big of a price tag. And the Steelers, on their side of things, they just needed another body, man, next to George Pickens. I mean, they were relying on Van Jefferson and the Michigan receiver rookie, who I can't remember his name at the moment, but they just needed some more bodies at receiver because they had nobody.
Yeah, no, and the best part about it, too, is that they didn't need a wide receiver 1. You know that you have a wide receiver 1 with great hands. Just getting another body in the building was absolutely crucial. I definitely see him being wide receiver 2 moving forward, but even Van Jefferson, who was being a number 2, didn't look horrible. Right? Didn't look like a true number 2, of course, but he could definitely be used in certain spots. And now, taking the pressure off of him, there's more options to go to. I think this is just a all-around benefit for the Steelers moving forward. And I like the move. And we've already talked about how it's a depleted wide receiver market, right? Everybody that has big names aren't looking to move them for the most part. And even the ones that were in trade talks, congratulations, they don't want to let go of them either. You had to go out and get something. This is a move I absolutely love. Happening in the Steel City.
Yeah, for sure. Even as a Jets fan, I'm not even mad about it. Like, honestly, we had too many receivers as it is. As exciting as it was for him to get that breakfast sandwich in March last year or April, whatever it was.
You know who this might sound crazy. We were just talking about before about veteran guys. You hate to see them leave type thing. If I'm the Cowboys, though, right, that offensive line already needs to be overhauled. You got Zach Martin. I know the Jets need a lineman. Somebody. Maybe they ship out Zach Martin. I don't know.
I mean,
I know he's close to retiring, so I don't know. People need lineman help all day, every day. Why not go out and get one of the best?
Could be. I mean, Steelers, a team that, like I mentioned earlier, a team that has suffered a lot of injuries up front. I'm sure they could totally use a guy like him.
Yeah. It's not going to happen. It's not going to happen.
We're going to keep our eyes peeled for more breaking trade deadline news as we go on. But what do you say we keep it moving with this past weekend?
Oh yeah, sure.
I'm not going to lie. It was a pretty meh so weekend of football.
It happens every now and then.
New England, Tennessee, Tank Bowl. Saints got upset by the Panthers. There's really not too much to discuss there besides the fact that Dennis Allen got canned the morning after. But Mazz, I think you and I both, that's not really a surprise. Kind of a lame duck coach in the first place. I think everyone kind of knew that this was a season where if there was going to be results, they were going to keep going. No results, it was time for a change up.
It's been time for a change up, but that's just what it comes down to. We have never really been sold on the Saints. Why would you be? Yeah, they beat up the Cowboys. What does that say? With this season, what does that say? It's just been a downward trend. Nothing has been spectacular on that team, with the exception, I fully believe, of Alvin Kamara and some guys on defense. But it's never been enough to sustain winning. I think that's going to be the first of many moves to come if they're going to be competent. We'll see if they have the cojones to do so.
Miami and Buffalo was a great game that came down to the wire. Tyler Bass kicked a game-winning field goal with about 6 seconds to go in that game. And like I said, a game that came down to the last possession. They were trading blows all afternoon. Dolphins now sitting at 2-7 on the season. Just really rough go of things for Miami, who I'm sure had a lot of high expectations coming into the season. The Tua concussion derailed a lot of things, and now they just can't pick up a win.
And to be fair, even so, too, another kick to the head, especially because A-Chain and Mostert got going in that game. More than anything, Mostert could have had, a little more, but 56 yards, probably, it's been definitely better than what he's been putting up. They look decent with it, and Tua went 25 of 28,
Great game.
231s, 2 touchdowns, 0 interceptions. That's a game that I'm talking about that I want to give credit to. I'm sorry, I don't want to give credit to Jared Goff throwing 18 passes, barely eclipsing 200 yards, and, throwing like 1 or 2 touchdowns. That's the game that I want to talk about, or, 3 touchdowns, doesn't even break 100 yards. Tua looked good. I'm glad to see him out there. It was not enough, though, just because the Bills are, honestly, we owe the Bills an apology. That's what it comes down to. I thought it was going to be a down year. Anybody and their mother could have looked at that. Unless you were a Bills fan. Shout out my man Logan Brannigan, because he's been giving me hell ever since his Bills have been looking good. I got nothing, dude. This doesn't make sense as to why they are as good as they are. The names that they've lost, right? Matt Milano, again, another season not playing. They lost 2 wide receivers, started the season with a rookie and a guy nobody had freaking heard of before. Yes, they go out and make Amari Cooper, but I don't even think he played in this Miami game, if I'm not mistaken.
He was out with a wrist injury, yeah.
So it's like they're winning games with a roster that just doesn't make sense, and I have nothing but respect for the Buffalo Bills right this second.
Oh, there has been some chatter that the departure of Stephon Diggs was addition by subtraction, because these past few years the Bills have been so focused on getting him his targets that he needs and that he wants, that now that this is the first year in Josh Allen's career since his rookie season that they're able to spread the ball around, and there's not really any egos on that side of the ball where they're just trying to win games. They're just trying to get yards, get first downs, and it's working.
But even the defense hasn't been awful, and it doesn't make sense for the names that they have lost. Poyer down in Miami. As I said, Milano injured. Everywhere you look, there is a hole. No disrespect, DeMar Hamlin is starting right now. Like, that's how I feel beat up that they were, but there's a culture change happening. I refuse to believe that one wide receiver leaving has changed everything. But I guess maybe it helped. But like I said, we owe them an apology. And let me state right here, right now, Buffalo, I'm sorry.
Yeah, and they're essentially a lock to win the division, because the Jets are 3 games back from them right now. If I'm not mistaken, I think Buffalo, are they 7-2 or are they 6-2? Yeah, Buffalo is 7-2, 4 games ahead of the Jets, who are second place in the AFC East right now. So,
and they have the Colts next week.
Yeah, you can probably just pencil that division in now. For the Buffalo Bills.
Yeah, no, dude, it's absolutely insane. And McDermott was a guy that we talked about potentially being on the hot seat. Yep. He looks like he's going to be just fine. Yes, maybe there's some things that Buffalo needs to change, but it ain't head coaching. That's for damn sure.
Definitely not.
Surely isn't quarterback play. That's for damn sure. I would like to see maybe just some bigger names on the team, because, they're cruising right now. I worry when they have to play the Chiefs in the playoffs. I worry when they have to play Baltimore in the playoffs, because both teams just have guys that they can go to in tough situations that have histories of rising to the occasion.
You could say the same thing for Cincinnati, too. I would take all 3 of those teams over Buffalo in the playoffs right now, just based off of history. That's it.
You're going to hate me for this?
Yeah, Cincinnati,
I'd take Buffalo over Cincinnati, yeah. I'm riding the wave, dude. I have confidence there. They're having fun playing football.
Yeah.
I don't think Cincinnati's having fun playing football. They're looking at it just like, God damn it, we got to get this right before we lose our minds. The other side is just like, yeah, Josh, let's go out there. What do you want to call, buddy? Let's do it. We're all in here. Great organization. I'm rocking with... Dude, the Bills, my defunct AFC team, I feel like.
Your defunct
them
AFC
and the Steelers,
team?
Them and the Steelers is who I'm really rooting for, I feel like. Baltimore, I think, is going to have the jump. I fully expect that to happen. I don't want to see KC get back after. I know I'm hating on greatness, but it's just been shoved down my throat, and I'm sick of it. And I'm not going to lie. The Baltimore hating has a little bit to do with I really don't want to hear Ankafone. I don't want to hear Big J. Shout out them. But The other two, yeah, I kind of would like to see it. On the other side, it's Tampa. It's always been Tampa. It's gonna be Tampa, but I don't think Tampa's gonna get it done.
You never know. I mean, like you said, Mike Evans could be back in a few weeks. Maybe they make a surprise move in the next 2.5 hours to acquire another weapon on offense. You never know.
And then boom, Cooper Kupp's coming down to the Bay.
The only other game I kind of wanted to touch on in the Week 9 slate was Sunday Night Football, Colts at Vikings, the former Jets quarterback bowl, if you will, Sam Darnold versus Joe Flacco. And this was the first game where Joe Flacco was the starting quarterback. He was not just playing as a service spot starter for the Colts. Anthony Richardson was benched, and Flacco took the reins, and they did not look great. On the Vikings side of things, they didn't look too great either. Sam Darnold had 3 turnovers, 2 picks, and a fumble, but still able to pull things out in a 21-13 win. Mazz, did the Colts make a mistake benching Richardson so early in the season?
No, I don't think so, because he just wasn't looking great. It's still very much raw, and it's going to be. I expect him to be much better than what he is. But the fact of the matter is, we compare him to Josh Allen, and a good buddy of mine made a great point the other day. Actually, it was my cousin. Shout out Eric. What Josh Allen did in development, it just doesn't happen, right? And we all think that. Yeah. It's the same thing with Tom Brady playing into his 40s. We all thought Aaron Rodgers could do it at that caliber as well. No disrespect, Charlie. But these are things where it's like, I don't know what it takes to do it, but the average NFL player can't do it. The great guys that are going into the Hall of Fame can't do it. I don't know if Richardson's going to develop, right? But I do know that they did get him some looks. I think they know what they have in it. I still think there's not enough to win. And there's no sense of marching him out there just to be getting banged up. We know that he's had a little bit of an injury history. This season's a wash. You have a veteran. This is what they're for. Go out there, earn the paycheck. We win some games, that's great. We know we're not going anywhere, though. We've already got the rookie quarterback looks that he needed to. I wouldn't be even opposed to just, playing him for a half and then dipping out of it. Just getting him some looks. But there's no sense of putting him into these games, especially with a roster like the Vikings where you're going to get mauled. Even on their bad day, you're going to get mauled, right? I don't see any benefit to just trotting him out there for a team that's going nowhere, personally. You've already got the looks.
Yeah, I mean, Colts sitting here at 4-6, 4-5 on the season.
Yep.
A team that could potentially be a seller or a buyer today. I mean, still plenty of time, as I mentioned earlier. But I don't hate that. The thing with Anthony Richardson that bothers me the most is how little games started he has over his professional career and collegiate career. He only played, I believe it was 10 games. He only started 10 games as a starter at Florida.
Yep.
That's correct, yeah. And then last year, played about 4 games before going down with that shoulder injury. And then now this year, he's already missed 2 games, or 3 games now, including this Vikings game. So if you're so intent on this guy being your franchise guy, and he's the guy of the future, I think you have to sacrifice the present a little bit for the future. You know what I mean? If you want to know that this guy's going to be your guy going forward, you got to just roll with the lumps. You know what I mean? We talked about this a few weeks ago, how I admired the organization for sticking with Richardson through his struggles. Now, obviously, that was before the helmet tap, can I come out of the game, please, yada, yada, whatever. But and I think that's what really led to the benching was just the public optics of that and what it said about the team, what it says to how Richardson is treated by the organization. And I think they were like, all right, maybe we got to pump the brakes a little bit here, give him some humility, and we'll see what happens.
Oh, you think it was a punishment?
I do. I really think that him and it would have been so easy for him to say post game, yeah, I got the wind knocked out of me. Yeah, I got hit. Something didn't feel right, and I needed to come and get checked out for a play and whatever. But the fact that he after the game at the podium said, yeah, I was tired. I needed a break. Like, I think the public optics of that led to him getting benched.
I disagree.
Yeah.
And you could be right. I'm not saying that this is, one where I think that you were dead wrong in, because this is a he said, she said, and we're never going to know the damn truth.
Yeah.
I firmly believe that he looked at it and went, we're going nowhere. I'm going to make business moves. You guys want me to be the guy for the future. You have all the faith in me. I think I can be so too. Shut me down for the season. Let me get better. Let me, go to work this off season and let's retool because we're not doing nothing this season. There's no point of me being out there taking these hits when I already have this injury history. I think that the Colts and Richardson are making business moves. I'm not saying that I love it. I'm saying I understand, and that's what I just think that happens because the fact of the matter is, if you were going to do a public lashing, you do the lashing in public, not just, oh, hey, we're going to bench you and we're going to give a shot to your ego. Like, dude, I'm getting benched for Joe Flacco. It's not like you're benching me for, insert random quarterback. Brandon Weeden. I don't know.
Weeden, oh my goodness.
It's not like that would be a lot more humiliating for me. Like, getting benched and then it's going to be, Joey Football's coming in. I don't think that should hurt an ego personally. I don't think it would hurt mine, but I don't know. I don't know Richardson personally. I don't know how guys are thinking. Like, hey, maybe they are. Yeah, I do want to be out there week in and week out, but sometimes you got to make business moves. And this just screams business move to me. I don't know. You know me. My instincts when it comes to how personal things are. I'm pretty good at this. It's like the only talent that I have in life. I can't shut the hell up, and I read people pretty well. But I wasn't there, so I don't really know, And we're just going to be throwing stuff at the wall. And at the end of it, one of us is going to look at the other one and go, haha, you're an idiot.
Well, we'll see what happens.
So if you're the Colts, what would you do?
If I'm the Colts, I'm putting Richardson back out there. I mean, maybe you play Flacco one more game just so you don't look like a pancake. Mm-hmm. But I after this Bills game this weekend coming up, I'm starting him against the Jets. I mean, you want a running quarterback against the Jets. I got a feeling Kyler Murray's going to carve us up with his legs this week. Spoiler alert for our pick'ems for this weekend coming up. But I would say Richardson, get him back out on the field as fast as possible. I mean, I think and this is talking about a team that we already kind of passed over, the Panthers. The best case scenario for a young quarterback, first-round pick that gets benched like that is for them to organically take the team back. And I think that's what you're seeing right now with the Carolina Panthers and Bryce Young, where, Young got benched after 2 games. Andy Dalton kind of came in, steadied the ship. They kind of established some things that they do well offensively, like running the football with Chuba Hubbard. They got some weapons and Xavier Leggett and the Coker kid. I can't remember his first name, but his name's actually Coker. His fans call themselves Cokeheads. I'm kind of a big fan of that. It's pretty fucking hilarious. But you saw Bryce Young these last 2 weeks. Last week against the Denver Broncos, put together some nice things. Didn't win that game, and then this past weekend, picking up a win against a division rival in the Saints. So Bryce Young kind of organically, after the Andy Dalton injury, put himself back in the starting lineup, played at a good enough level. Why are you looking like that?
Because Andy Dalton got into a car accident. Thankfully, he's okay. It organically or necessity is the real question.
Well, I'd say organically because I don't think Bryce Young's given up that starting job for the rest of the season. I mean, if he had played poorly these last 2 weeks,
well, who are you going to go to?
Andy Dalton.
Is he not still banged up?
I think after 2 weeks, he's probably healthy. He didn't suffer any major injuries in that car accident.
I don't know, dude. Those things are, tricky. Some things lingering here or there.
I'm not saying it's not tricky, but the injury report is he's practicing in full this past week. You know what I mean?
So yeah. Okay. So, organic. I'll give it to you.
So the car accident, not organic.
Not organic. That's it was an accident that happened, but that's what I'm saying is that I don't know if he would have been given the shot for this if the car accident doesn't happen.
Possibly. I mean, if the Panthers kept losing games, it's entirely possible that they would have said, "Hey, let's give Young another chance out there." But
is it soft of me to think that maybe for the Colts, maybe I just play him in guys that against teams that I feel that just don't have great defenses in terms of a pass rush more than anything, just so I can ensure that he doesn't get banged up. And maybe I just start him against teams with weaker pass rushes just so that he can get those looks. I don't know. I have no clue how to manage what does a rookie quarterback need to flourish. Because here's the fact of the matter. We look at a Baker Mayfield with an original team, had some bright moments, didn't do what they wanted him to do. Sam Darnold, an absolute dumpster fire on his first team. They both go through the motions, traded around the block, and then boom, right situation. Here we are, some experience under the belt, and we're setting the league on fire in both case scenarios. Maybe that could happen for Zach Wilson. I don't know. I think it would have to require going to one of the California teams because that seems to be where people go to learn how to actually play the game of football when you can't play it at this high of a level. So maybe a quick stop with the Rams, a quick stop with the Niners, what have you, and maybe you can learn how to play the game again and be a starter. I don't know. How do you manage these guys that are underperform? I don't know.
I don't think there is a bona fide correct answer. I think it's fluid by situation, depending on the guy. But
Yeah.
Mazz, I went 13-2 in week 9.
Dude,
I
got my what I go 9-5,
10-5.
10-5. I
Yeah.
got my ass kicked.
Three games is not an ass kicking, dude.
Dude, I just you know I gotta say something. All right, I've been upset with you the last couple of days. I love you to death, but what happened here on this last episode where I look like an absolute clown, and part of that is my fault. I will say 85% of that is my fault because I could have been a man. I could have stuck to my guns, what have you. I allowed you to get into my head, and I was like, oh, fine, I'll rock. I didn't believe in the Cowboys. We never had a conversation on this damn platform, off this damn platform. We've never had a conversation where we're just going to rock with our teams. That has never been a conversation. I don't know where you thought that came from.
It was implied.
No. That is a BS implicit. Is that even a word? I don't know. Implication. That's a BS implicit sounds awesome. All right. They should add that to the dictionary. But I don't know where that was applied. What? Because I had faith in my team over being an underdog when they were at home against a team that they beat before in shenanigan fashion, but that they beat before. And now all of a sudden I got to rock with these guys for the rest of the season. That's what's expected of me. It wasn't organic. It was forced. You made me feel bad about it. And I will never, ever let somebody twist my arm like that ever again. You didn't completely twist it. You twisted it just a little bit. And I should have been more of a man. And I'm very upset with myself. It's been bothering me all week. All right. There's been big decisions. We got an election right now, and I don't even know if I like who I voted for crying out loud. But I hope both candidates turn the damn country around. But what I'm saying is that I will live and die by my own decisions, and I will not be influenced to do some bullshit like that ever again. So from here on out, do not blame me when I don't take the Cowboys. Because they ain't going nowhere either, my friend.
All right. Well, let's go back just a little bit here. Just humor me. Week 8, Dallas at San Francisco. I picked San Francisco. Mazz, you picked Dallas.
Strictly off of injuries.
Week 6, Mazz, Dallas Cowboys over the Detroit Lions.
I told you why. We beat them at home before, shenanigan fashion, and I had hope, even though I knew that Detroit was going to win, but I had hope that maybe they could pull off the upset, and I really wanted to see if I could get another game on you. That was a calculated risk taken by me that I knew wasn't going to work out. I literally said, let me live in ignorance. That's on me. I should be allowed to do that.
Week 3, Dallas over Baltimore. Mazz picks Dallas.
They were home, and they were rolling a bit. I did not understand that we weren't going to be able to pass on the Ravens. It's not my fault that this team, and listen, they almost came back in that game, all right? That's probably the best game that they've played all damn season, and it was in a losing effort.
Yeah, well, regardless.
Anybody else you want to put me, go ahead.
No,
you want to roast me?
Not anymore. I just wanted to go back through the season and just show you all of the times you picked Dallas over these teams that were so much better than them. And then they play the Atlanta Falcons, and that's where you draw the line. I just thought it was funny to me. It was funny. I don't know.
What is the difference between the Falcons, besides the Ravens, and the other two teams that I took?
What difference between what?
Between the San Francisco 49ers, the Detroit Lions,
okay,
the Atlanta Falcons,
okay,
and the Ravens.
Those 3 teams are good, and the Falcons are all right?
No, I literally just prefer the running back to any running back on those teams, with the exception of Derrick Henry.
Okay.
Right? And don't get me wrong, Jahmyr Gibbs and David Montgomery, great duo, right? But it's just I was legitimately petrified of what Bijan Robinson could do to us. Because Bijan Robinson is special. Bijan Robinson could be the next Saquon Barkley in this league, right? And by the way, Saquon Barkley, how about that reverse freaking hurdle? That was the craziest move. I watched that live. Thankfully, that was the greatest move in the history of football I think I've ever seen in my life. Yes, it wasn't a touchdown. Yes, it wasn't Odell Beckham's 3-finger catch after pass interference. But to even have the balls to attempt that, are you serious? I don't that is just amazing. It is. I literally lost my shit when that happened.
Yeah, it was pretty crazy, and the fact that he wasn't even looking at the guy, it was like the guy
Instincts.
was behind him, and he just jumped.
Spider senses, bro.
It was
He's Spider-Man.
Absolutely absurd. Saquon Barkley, one of the best in the biz.
You know, but that's what I'm saying. Atlanta, dude, they had the passing game, they have the rushing game. We can't stop either, you know, and they have a good secondary. I thought that was a stylistic nightmare for the Cowboys.
Well, it did turn out pretty bad for them. Mazz, you went 10-5 this past week, and I went 13-2. You now only have a 4-game lead against me in our pick'ems on the year. So here we are in week 10. Let me see if I can pick up some more. I don't know how many differing opinions we'll have on these games, but let's start with Thursday night. AFC North matchup, Cincinnati Bengals at Baltimore Ravens. The Ravens are almost a touchdown favorite, 6.5 points. Mazz, this is the game last year, very similar time of year where Joe Burrow went down with that wrist injury on a Thursday night against the Ravens. It was very, very similar time of year. And once again, the Ravens are also up there in record in terms of top of the division, right underneath the Steelers, and the Bengals are just looking for wins to try and claw themselves back into the wild card race. Who you got?
So implications just lead me to believe that the Ravens might, they have a history of playing down to opponents a little bit, especially in division. Look what happened with Cleveland. Mm-hmm. Especially it's a Thursday night too, which I don't love. However, they know what they're going up against, right? This isn't Jameis Winston coming off the bench and after Amari Cooper left, and they weren't expecting just, to get deep balled like crazy. This is a team that they're going up against where we know what Joe Burrow is. He's hurt us in the past. We know that they're going to have a strong passing game, which we struggle against the pass. However, they don't have a good defense either, and I think the Ravens can control time on this because they're not stopping Lamar Jackson. They're not stopping Derrick Henry. I think that they're going to keep pace with it, and if I had to have more faith in one of their defenses, I think it would have to be the Ravens' defense. Especially, I don't even know if T. Higgins is going to end up playing, so the Bengals might not be even at full strength. And we talk about picking up new wide receivers. Well, the Ravens got a new wide receiver off the Panthers, right? So their passing game got even better. I think I have to rock with the Ravens here, my friend.
Yeah, I'm with you as well. I'm picking the Ravens to win this game. I do like Bengals spread, though. I think this will be closer. It'll be within a touchdown, in just my estimation. But, yeah, I think that's the big mismatch there is the Ravens are going to be able to run the ball with Derrick Henry. Cincinnati's defense, I mean, even if they do make an acquisition today, probably won't be ready in time on a short week on a Thursday night. So, yeah, sticking with the Ravens over here as well.
34-30 Ravens.
I like that. That's
I don't know why. Popped into my head. Rocking with it. Trust it if you want.
Ravens defense isn't as good as it was last year. Bengals barely have a defense. So, yeah, I'm thinking a high-scoring fireworks show.
Yep.
Now we're back to the international slate, Mazz. We took I think a week or two off of the European games. No longer in England, but we have Germany's punishment for World War II. The New York Giants at the Carolina Panthers. Giants 4.5-point favorites at a neutral field.
Are you saying it's punishment because they sent two shit teams there?
Correct.
Good God, dude, that was wild. Oh man, give me the Giants. Just give me the Giants. They're the better team, even with Daniel Jones, right? They have their best players are former Panther players, for crying out loud, So yeah, I think they have to win. It's just a necessity. If they lose this one, I don't want to hear any excuses.
Yeah,
all right.
Panthers' biggest weakness is up front in the offensive line. Giants' biggest strength is their defensive line. They're going to be making Bryce Young's life a living hell Sunday morning in Germany. Give me the Giants for sure. All right, two teams coming off heartbreaking losses. Patriots lost an overtime thriller where Drake May flashed to the Titans, and the Bears coming off a loss in Arizona to the Cardinals where they just could not get anything going offensively. And this, to me, seems like a get-right game for the Bears at home. Give me Chicago.
Yeah, I'm absolutely with you. Yes, Drake May is having flashes, but, they struggled against Tennessee, who has a good defense. And guess what the Bears also have? A good defense.
Yep.
So I think this is an easy Bears win for me. It's going to be competitive, though. I just think that the Bears are coming out on top.
Touchdown spread here by the Bears, 6.5 points. I kind of like that, honestly. I think 6.5 points seems reasonable between these two teams, but we'll see. Another seemingly easy pick 'em. Buffalo at Indianapolis. Colts are looking really rough right now, especially on the offensive side of the ball. Buffalo is rolling. Mazz, I think we both got Buffalo here, right?
Yeah, I'm just wondering if Mark Cooper's going to be playing or not, but nonetheless.
Even if he doesn't, I mean.
Yeah, no, even if he doesn't,
Yeah.
give me the Bills. I'm curious if he does.
Yeah.
I want to see him in this offense, like legit, like find his groove, be the number one target. I really am excited to see that.
Minnesota at Jacksonville. Minnesota needs some wins. I mean, I know they picked up a win against the Colts last week, but they are down a game and a half to Detroit in the division lead. Jacksonville reeling. I think they could definitely use a win as well, but against a Minnesota team that has played some good football this year, not going to happen this week.
I'll tell you, they came back in that Philly game, but still, I just don't think they have not only the manpower to get the job done, I don't think that they have the leadership to get the job done. So for those reasons, and because Minnesota's pretty damn good, give me the Vikings.
It's not looking great in terms of opposing picks here.
It's good for me.
For us, but yeah,
good for me.
All right, sure. Good.
Pressure's
good
on
for
you, buddy. I dropped 3 games to you this week. The pressure is on you, my friend.
All right. How about Denver at Kansas City? Divisional matchup in the AFC West. Kansas City 8.5-point favorites at home. Mazz, are we both leaning Kansas City here?
Yeah, I got to go Kansas City here. The question that I have, I saw that Patty Mahomes got a little banged up. What's up with that?
Yeah, it was pretty scary last night for a little bit there for a few minutes. On a touchdown pass early in the fourth quarter, it was his left leg that got he kind of just rolled up on it. For a second, it almost looked like an Achilles because it was non-contact, and he immediately went down to the ground. The Monday Night Football broadcast was really concerned. They were showing Carson Wentz warming up on the sideline. And then next thing you know, next Kansas City drive, he's back out there on the field. So Mahomes, it either wasn't that serious of an injury, it looked way worse. He either has some black devil magic on the sideline that he's able to do to repair his ligaments or something, man. But, yeah, Kansas City.
Call up Aaron Rodgers real quick and be like, hey, who's the shaman?
Yeah, I don't know. Kansas City, undefeated. Going to stay that way next week after a win against Denver, hopefully.
Yeah. I even think, even if he doesn't play, which he will, I'm sure he will, but I think Carson Wentz, I kind of want to see it in Kansas City. I think it would be just fine in terms of a backup quarterback to play against Denver. Denver's trending in the right direction, but they, even without Patty Mahomes, they don't have enough to beat the Chiefs.
Yeah. All right, Atlanta Falcons at the New Orleans Saints. The Saints with their first game with their special teams coordinator, whose name escapes me at the moment, as their interim head coach. Atlanta's only 3-point favorites on the road here. And
what's up with Drake London? I know he hurt his hip, went down in fantasy for me. I was very upset, but he got me 10 points, so thanks for the contribution.
Yeah, he's day-to-day with a hip injury. They're not sure if he's going to play or not yet, but honestly, Drake London or no Drake London, I'm still taking the Falcons here.
I'm a little, but the Saints are home. New coach, maybe some new energy. I wonder how that affected. But Lattimore is gone. I just can't have faith in the Saints. Give me the Falcons.
Falcons.
Yeah, I thought about it. I can't do it.
There is. I know people. They talk about the coach firing. The first game afterwards, there's always an instant jolt of energy to the team because there's some sort of new life. But when it comes to the Saints, I got no faith. So
I just think that they might not even be done with the selling by the end of today. So we'll see what happens. There's too many unknown factors. I do like that they're home, and it's in division, which is always harder to play. Teams just take it a lot more serious. But yeah, I gotta go with the Falcons on this one.
Next up, San Francisco at Tampa Bay. This could be Christian McCaffrey's first game played this season. I mean, he hasn't played a single game since last year due to his Achilles tendonitis, but he's been ramping up in practice the last 2 weeks, and thanks for my fantasy team, he's coming back.
Yeah, mine too. McCaffrey plays, gives me San Francisco.
If he doesn't,
give me San Francisco.
I'm with you.
I love Tampa so much, dude.
I do too. I do too, man.
It sounds like we hate them. It's just like we never pick them. I want them to be good. I was impressed with how they hung in there with Kansas City, but it's just nobody to throw to. Even though Baker still had a pretty damn good game, I just can't love it, man. I know Mike Evans isn't going to be playing either. If Mike Evans was playing, I think I'd be having a completely different outlook with Tampa being home. But top two wide receivers not there, I just can't bank on that.
And what a rough patch of the schedule it's been for the Buccaneers. They've gone in the last 5 games. They've gone Falcons, Saints, Ravens, Falcons, Chiefs, and now they got the Niners. That's a really rough spot on the schedule, man.
Gauntlet, man.
Unfortunately, we're both picking them to pick up another loss, but it lightens up at the end. So there's still definitely time for them to pick up some of those wins to bolster their playoff positioning. So we'll see. So this next game is interesting. I could see either of us going both ways here. We have the Pittsburgh Steelers heading to Washington to take on the Commanders. So we have the red-hot Commanders against the Mike Tomlin Steelers, and Mike Tomlin has 25 wins against rookie quarterbacks in his career as a head coach.
It's gonna be a lot of pressure, but Daniel's got those legs. They just picked up Lattimore, so that defense is gonna get a little bit better. But that's still the biggest hole. It is home, but there's a new wide receiver. I know you're gonna take the Commanders, and I'll give it to you. Give me the Steelers.
I was gonna take the Steelers.
Come on, man!
I'm dead serious. I'm dead serious. I got a lot of faith in the Steelers coming off a bye.
Yeah, me too.
Russell Wilson's playing some great football right now. Who knows if Mike Williams is going to be ready or not? We're not sure. But I got a lot of faith in the Steelers' defense. I think Mike Tomlin, if there's anybody who's going to figure out a way to slow down this offense that the Commanders have been running, that has been steamrolling most of the league, it's Mike Tomlin.
Yeah, no, I'm with you. I can't believe this is good for me. Of course, I know you must be a little upset now. I thoroughly thought you were going with the Commanders, but
no, man.
Yeah, no, dude, I got to go with the Steelers on this one. I just like it. I love teams coming off a bye that are known to have competency, right? Never had a losing season, maybe not winning Super Bowls every year, but he's got it done before. Still got a really good defense. The offense is starting to get going now. New wide receiver weapon. Russ got some shiny weapons to work with. Yeah, it's got to be the Steelers, bro. It was always the Steelers.
It was always the Steelers. So we're both rocking with Pittsburgh there. Washington only a 3-point favorite at home, so that tells you all you need to know about how the books feel about the Steelers going into Commanders. But we'll see. Next up, we got Tennessee in Los Angeles playing the Chargers. Chargers are rolling right now. They're playing some good football. I know, Mazz, you just mentioned the Titans' defense is pretty solid. We don't know who's playing quarterback for them yet. It could be Mason Rudolph again. Could be Will Levis back for the first time in a while. But regardless of whoever plays at quarterback, I'm going to be rocking with the the Chargers.
Yeah, I'm rocking with the Chargers as well. I know that they have a good defense, but there's a good offense that they're going to be facing, right? Who doesn't even have much to work with, and they're still cranking out wins. As much as, dude, I'm going to be honest, you've made me a Justin Herbert hater.
I have?
Yeah, you have.
Why? What?
I just, when we were on Aunt Mazz back in the day, just the love that you showed that kid, it was just sickening. I would like Tennessee to win this game, but I hate their quarterback situation, and everything's got to filter through the quarterback. And whether it's Mason Rudolph, whether it's Will Levis, they're two schmucks. They'd be better off going to call up Cam Newton right now at this point, in my opinion. Yeah, no, not loving it.
I don't know if I go that far, but
they're horrible. I want to like Will Levis, I really do. But you know what? When you eat mayo out of a jar, you disgust me. I literally hate Mason Rudolph. I don't know if I've ever hated a player more in my life, just because of how much of a little biatch he was during that entire situation with the Cleveland Browns and Myles Garrett, which, like I've said, I've written a whole paper on how he instigated both instances. It's unfortunate that he got a helmet swung on him, but can't say that he didn't necessarily deserve it, because it was dead. And you started it, it was dead. You started it back up again, and you weren't even a man to get into his face. You had to, use your big offensive lineman to talk smack behind him. Yeah, dude, come on. If you're going to talk smack, say it with your chest, all right? But, yeah, it is what it is.
With that being said, go Chargers.
Not go Chargers, but Chargers for the win.
All right. Jets flying down to Glendale to face the Cardinals in Arizona.
are we ever going to differ on a team? I'm taking the Jets.
I'm taking the Jets too. How could I not? I mean, I don't.
I thought Kyler was going to have a big week in fantasy. I cannot figure out him or Sam Darnold to go with my starting quarterback. I choose the wrong one every damn week, it feels like. I'm getting sick and tired of it. Kyler put up 4 damn points. I don't even care that he might get a bunch of rushing yards on the Jets. I just, the Jets need wins right now if they were going to have any hope of keeping this season alive. And it needs to start. It started last week. It needs to be right now.
Needs to continue.
I got to go with the Jets.
I'm rocking with the Jets too. The Cardinals are coming off a win against the Bears. They did show they can run the football, which has been the Jets' kryptonite this season. I mean, Joe Mixon, even though they beat the Texans, Joe Mixon still had 100 yards rushing and a touchdown. So James Conner,
played the Chargers like an absolute warrior the other week. So look out for that. And don't get me wrong, I would love nothing more than Kyler Murray raining down Hail Marys with freaking Marvin Harrison on you guys, but it's not going to happen.
Well, that's not how they're going to beat the Jets, because their secondary is the strong part of the defense. How they're going to beat the Jets is running the football down their throats, which is something they could totally do, but I'm picking the Jets to make more plays.
I got to take the Jets.
All right, Philadelphia at Dallas. Philadelphia.
Don't even want to talk about it. We don't got to talk about it. There's nothing to talk about. Big favorite wins. I got it. All right, I'm being a baby right now. I don't even want to talk about this. Trey Lance better be playing, and Philly's going to maul them. Keep it moving.
Okay. All right. Sounds good to me. I'm also rocking with Philadelphia.
Oh, no shit.
All right, this might be the best game of the weekend. Sunday Night Football. The Detroit Lions are headed down to Houston to take on the Texans. Texans coming off a loss to the Jets. Detroit coming off a big divisional win against Green Bay. Mazz, I'll let you go first.
There's something to be said about bounce back, wins after taking tough losses, especially in a fashion that you did there.
No.
But the fact of the matter remains. I do think that Detroit is the better squad, but I could see them kind of taking a little break on this one, my friend. I think this is a kind of a trap game, and I think the Houston Texans are going to make a statement, and I think the Texans are going to win this damn game.
Dude, I have the Texans too. What the hell?
It's a trap game. It's an absolute trap game.
Okay, all right. So,
big division win. They're going to be cruising a little bit. You know that you have to be fuming if you were the Texans. Especially with Stephon Diggs going down. I don't even know if Nico Collins is going to be playing or not, but I just think that this is a game that just screams the Texans want to make a statement and that they're going to be coming in pissed off. I have to go with Houston, buddy.
So I'm rocking with Houston too. I was hoping that you were going to take the Lions. We could finally have a differing pick here, but I was going to say that you had the asterisk last week, right? You said I'm taking the Patriots, but if Drake May doesn't play, switch me to the Titans. That's what you said last week.
Sure.
I'm taking the Texans. If Nico Collins isn't activated for this game, I'm flopping back to the Lions. But if Nico Collins plays this game, I'm rocking with the Texans as well.
Yeah, I'll give you the contingency. That's fine. I'm just gonna rock with the Texans outright. I just think it's going to be a heavy dosage of Joe Mixon.
Yeah. I think the Lions' weakness is their secondary. I think their defensive line is definitely the strong suit of the defense. So
sure, but it's not as strong as it was.
That's correct.
You know.
But yeah, Houston at home, coming off a loss to the Jets, where, like you said, I think they're probably pissed off about that loss because they said after the game they felt like they were the better team and they got. And yeah. I think there's definitely an element there of hey, we got to reestablish ourselves, we got to prove ourselves, and let's do it by taking down one of the top teams in football right now.
And you know what? I'm a big fan. I believe D'Amico Ryan's the head coach over there. He's solid, dude. He's really, really good. This team has taken leaps and bounds with his at the helm. I think that he could take down Dan Campbell this week.
Remains to be seen. Was just checking real quick if there's any other moves have been made, but does not appear so.
I got
yet.
Nothing coming through on my X feed. I got Shefty starred right now.
Just waiting for anything. Waiting for, because we still have an hour and 48 minutes to go here until the trade deadline closes. And let's head to the last game of the Week 10 slate. Monday night football in Los Angeles. The Dolphins facing off against the Rams. Rams are 2.5-point favorites at home here. Mazz, I think I'm rocking with Miami here.
God damn it!
This sucks, man.
Bro, I don't know what to tell you, right? I have a 4-game thing. I'm not even playing it safe. I'm going with who I legitimately think is going to win.
I think the Dolphins, have lost, what? Is it like 6 in a row now? Maybe
Yeah,
even
they
5?
need a win in the worst way. They have the weapons. Tua just came off of playing a big game against what I believe is a better defense. I think it's going to be a shootout, but I think that Miami comes out on top on this one.
So we are in lockstep the whole way through Week 10. The only contingency is if Nico Collins doesn't play, I'll have the Lions, you'll have the Texans. So, kind of
I could be such a prick right now and just put the same contingency on it. But because I have 4 games on you, I will not. And I will rock with it. This is what it is.
There you have it, folks. Week 10 picks are in the books.
What a boring week. I wish we had more for you. I wish there was more exciting.
I'm more excited for this weekend than I was for last weekend. There's a lot of great games on this slate coming up. I mean, that doesn't necessarily mean they will translate into good games, but on paper,
in theory,
got some really good matchups. So
but you know what, Charlie? Football matters, but it's voting season, baby.
It is voting season.
The political Super Bowl tonight. Charlie voted.
I got out there.
I don't have the sticker on me right now. I went and did my early voting. All right. I don't care who you're voting for, but go and make your voice heard. All right. Get out there and vote. Make an educated decision based on what best benefits you and the people around you, what have you. I don't care. And for God's sake, if someone disagrees with who you're voting for, if you want to have a civil conversation and a healthy debate, be my guest. But please, still talk to your neighbors, friends, and family just because you have differing opinions. For the love of God, please. On both sides. All right.
On both sides.
I will be posted up watching the political Super Bowl go down tonight, buddy. I don't know about you.
Who's your favorite I don't even know what the term for this is, but you know how each TV network, each news station has their own guy who's standing there next to the big screen and he's like tapping the if this candidate wins this state and this candidate wins this state, which one will you be tuned into tonight?
I'm going to be honest with you. I do with any time that I consume media. I would not be surprised if I end up on the internet finding an alternate stream. But most likely I will be on the legacy media channels, flipping between the big 3 of CNN, Fox, and MSNBC just to see where everybody's at, because everybody has a guy in there. They don't know what the fuck they're doing, dude. Like, if you want to get the full story, you gotta listen to all sides these days. So.
I'm looking for the guy who's on MSNBC because he's pretty good. Map. Like what is even the name for this guy? Steve Kornacki.
Okay. Yeah.
He'll do the screen thing, and he does it for NBC Sports too. For when the playoffs roll around, he has a board for like playoff percentages and what are the odds this team can make it, what are the odds this team can make it, yada yada yada. You know what I mean? So, you're right, Mazz. Me personally, usually I just have the live electoral college map up on a screen while I'm doing whatever. And I'll just glance over. Oh, Pennsylvania is in. Oh, cool. Oh, hey, New Jersey's blue again. Yeah, that sounds about right. Oh, hey, all the out western states like Montana, Wyoming. Oh, they're all red. Yeah, sounds about right.
Yeah. I like I said, I'll be flipping back and forth like a madman. You're gonna hate me for this.
Hit me.
If sports doesn't work out, I might go into political radio.
Yeah.
Why not? Why not?
I can see it.
You know me, dude. I'm down the middle as humanly possible. Let me just go out there and just roast both sides all day, every day. To go get paid that, get into heated debate. I live for debate. People get passionate over sports. People get more passionate over politics. I don't know. Maybe I'll go get into that scene and just, still be able to yell my head off. Just have to be a lot more knowledgeable for things that have real world implications besides billionaire football teams.
I mean, hey, you can dabble in both. I mean, look at Stephen A. Smith. He makes regular appearances
I'll tell you, dude,
on Fox and News Nation.
I'm already a Stephen A. stan, as we know. That guy is a big inspiration for me. He has absolutely any media. This guy could be covering Cartoon Network and he'd find a way to make a compelling argument and do it at the highest level. He is one of the greatest broadcasters ever. Whether you love or hate him, the guy comes correct. He knows what he's talking about, right? You could disagree with him, but you cannot say that the man does not come prepared and doesn't make good points.
No, it's hard to disagree with that. And just the way his career has gone is definitely an inspiration to guys like us who are just trying to crack into it. You know what I mean?
For sure, So I don't know, bro. You might see me dabbling all over the place. I have no clue, but I will tell you this. I will be paying attention to this more than anything this week. Because I find it very interesting.
Yeah, I mean, the NBA does not play today because of elections. They want people locked in on voting and also the results.
I think nobody should be playing. Is the NHL playing today? So help me God.
That would be very on brand for them, wouldn't it? Yep, we got a
Would
full...
you look at that? We got a full slate. I got
slate.
Canucks at my Ducks. My second team. I love the Ducks. We got Canucks at Ducks. We got Bruins at Maple Leafs. We got Flames at Canadians. Flyers and Hurricanes. Senators and Sabres. Of course, all the Canadian teams are playing, right? Penguins at Islanders. Hockey, the hockey club, whatever the hell. Why wouldn't they just say the Coyotes or just make it the Yetis already? There's Coyotes in Utah. I don't get it. The Winnipeg Jets, Kings and Wild, Lightnings and Blues, Kraken and Avalanche, and Blue Jackets with Sharks. You know what? We got to get our boys at NJ Devil Report. Shout out Dan Amoya. We got to get him on here, talk a little hockey. And I want to know what the hell this league is doing. Are you just trying to get any slate, right? Oh, there's no sports going on today. Maybe people will watch hockey. Baby. We're watching the election. That's it. All right? I'm not saying I'm all in. It's the future of our nation. Why wouldn't you be locked in?
No, you're not.
But wrong. I will say this. All right, whoever wins is the damn president. Stop crying about it. All right, I hate more than anything. I'm a fan of freedom of speech, right? But I just don't think that we should be out in the middle of public yelling "F the president." No
matter who it is.
I just think that it's a schmuck move. All right, whether you're voting for Trump or voting for Kamala Harris or even a third party person, at the end of the day, we should be rooting for the success of whoever gets into office. Because guess what? If they succeed, we succeed. That's how it works. So listen, it is what it is. You can have your mind made up, but let's just learn to get along.
Please, for the sake of this country going forward.
Yeah, And this is probably be the last time that we talk politics on this platform until there's another presidential election in 4 years. Yeah. Hopefully, we're still doing it.
Check back in 2028. Maybe we'll actually have a dedicated election episode or something.
You know what? I'm going to pose a question to you right now.
Hit me.
Who in the sports world, if that was the only people you could choose from, would you want to be president of the United States?
LeBron James.
I knew you were going to say that, and it's a horrible decision. It's a horrible decision.
Who would you
Not
pick?
Because I'll tell you what. I got a perfect move for you right now, and let me tell you why LeBron's a horrible decision. LeBron is a great leader, right? But LeBron brings in the wrong guys is my problem. All right?
Okay, all right.
He's not great. Late GM is not a great roster, but a great leader. I would love to see LeBron, maybe like Secretary of State, maybe in charge of military, whatever. I just don't think that building a cabinet's going to be his strong suit. I've seen him build up Cleveland. It wasn't fantastic, right? I've seen him build the Lakers. It's not going great right now. That's the only thing that I have against it. If I could only choose one person, I'm glad that you said basketball because I'm actually thinking basketball myself. It's the Godfather, Pat Riley. It's absolutely. I have faith in Pat Riley more than anybody in the sports world. All right, because there is a trail of success everywhere. All right,
definitely fits the age range.
It is. I also like Cuban. I really thought that Mark Cuban should have ran for president. I just think that he just gets stuff done, and he's a guy that I want to root for too. As well, I would love to see either one of those two get after it.
According to Trump, he's got a low club head speed, so I don't know.
Maybe we'll talk about it off of it, but maybe that's why Trump didn't age so much because he took all those golf breaks.
Maybe, who knows?
I don't know, but nonetheless, yeah, Pat Riley's my pick. I knew you were gonna say LeBron, dude. You're amazing, my man. If there's ever been a LeBron stan, it is Charlie Baduini. That guy could get into studying black holes. You think he'd be the number one black hole studier? That guy could get into making candy. He's already got the number one brand. Making cars, it's the number one brand. I know you bought that Hennessy. Don't lie to me.
I just pointed to it. It's right there.
Is it?
That's the case. That's the bottle down there.
See, I will say this: when it comes to marketing and branding, his team top notch. And I wonder if was it like a special edition? Did it taste different from regular Hennessy? You know, I'm a Hennessy guy, so I'm just wondering if it was just a different packaging.
I'm not the biggest cognac guy, but I mean, it tasted.
Love cognac.
It tasted about the same as a regular bottle. So
okay.
I don't know.
Yeah, I gotta try. I gotta get my hands on some of that because listen, Hennessy and Sprite is my go-to drink, as you know.
I'm also I'm a bit of a poser right now because I have my LeBron James jersey covered up by Aaron Rodgers because I had a new acquisition added to the wall. I have my Francisco Lindor jersey up where A-Rod used to be. So,
bro, you know what? I'm glad that you said it. Gives me a good transition. If Aaron Boone isn't fired this year,
he's staying.
I got
dude.
nothing.
He's staying.
He shouldn't. We fired Joe Girardi for taking a way less talented team deep in the playoffs. He made every wrong move I felt like there is to make at managing in that game. He looked good, the 2 rounds before, but it was just wrong move after wrong move. And I'll tell you right now, if Soto goes to the Mets, I'm a little upset. All right? If Soto goes to another team because they paid $700 million for him, I'm a little upset, but I understand. If they get outbid and it was like 600 or something reasonable, which I can't believe I'm saying 600 is reasonable right now, but that's just where we're at.
That's where we're at in baseball. Yeah.
I don't think I could watch the Yankees for a little bit. I need a break. And if he goes to the Dodgers, so help me God, this is worse than Kevin Durant.
Yeah. All right. So here, I'll give my take on that and my casual baseball fan take here. So the Dodgers, I can't see them going after Soto.
They're in on him.
There's no way.
They're in. They are in on Soto.
I will invoke my Uncle Fran who you are familiar with. He's a massive Dodgers fan. Did not know this. Has been his entire life. He's a Los Angeles sports fan. Before he married into our side of the family, he was a Rams fan and transferred over to a Jets fandom, but big Dodgers fan. And he told me unequivocally the Dodgers they'll check in on Soto, but they're not gonna give another guy that much money. They're not.
He's younger.
When it comes to the Mets, it's abundantly clear that Steve Cohen is not going to be outbid for him. He is going to offer him the most money of any team in baseball because he's the richest owner in baseball. That's a fact. That's not an opinion. That's a fact. He's not going to be outbid. So it's going to come down to Soto. Does he want to take the most money? Because that's what he said in his post-game press conference after the World Series. Is he just in it for the money, or does he want a place where he's like, yeah, I'm the most comfortable here. Yeah, I like calling this place home, and that doesn't seem to be that big of a factor for him. It really doesn't.
My problem with it is that I'm so conflicted on it because on one hand, like I understand, like you are worth a price and you want to get the best value for yourself. And it's not even like if you were to go, let's say it is the Mets that bid the most, or it is the Dodgers. Like, yeah, you're in win now scenarios, for sure. Yeah, I like to see a fellow Latin man get his. So on one hand, that's where I'm like, I get it. On the other hand, I'm like, is there really that big of a difference between $600 and $700 million? I don't know. I'm sure if I had both in front of me, I could definitely see money swaying me. However, I could also see that money being made up, being a Yankee. Being certain franchises, there's off-field opportunities, so maybe you weigh that, maybe you don't. I don't know. It does seem like that he wants a bidding war to invoke. He's already been, Washington over to the Padres, now to the Yankees, and maybe another stop. Maybe he stays with the Yankees. I don't know, but I do think that money is the biggest factor, and I can't blame, a man wanting to get his worth, so it's it is what it is. Right? It all depends on context for whether or not I hate the Yankees moving forward. Like I said, if it's out of the water, I understand. The Yankees make money off of baseball. Some of these other owners, they make money off of baseball and other endeavors. So I don't know how it's going to go. I would love to see him back in pinstripes, but I kind of get it. But like I said, I can still kind of get it and kind of hate you if you go to the Dodgers. So if that does happen, I'm going to be upset if he becomes a Met. I literally will hate him if he becomes a Dodger just because it's soft, so we'll see what happens.
Like you said, it would be very similar to the Kevin Durant move from getting beat by the team in the championship or conference championship, whatever you want to say, for either occasion, and then going to that team that beat you. That's just absolutely so soft.
Sure. So. We'll see what happens. But all I know is, buddy, I'm locked in on politics tonight. We're back to the sports grind.
Yes, sir.
After that, and hey, go America.
Go America. USA. USA. USA.
There you have it. There you have it. That's the episode. Listen, you join us next week. We'll be back for episode Vente. I got nothing else for you, buddy.
20 in the books next week.
Yeah.
We should do something special for that.
Ooh. What are you thinking?
I don't know. Let's brainstorm something.
All right, we'll figure it out here next week on the Mazz and Bad Show. You already know what it is. We'll catch you next week.
You have been listening to the Mazz and Bad Show with Brandon Marrazzo and Charlie Baduini.